Ms. Kim,
Yes, I'm here.
I'm about to give you a call. This is Ms. Duarte. They just brought her
Okay.
home from Alpharetta.
Is it a wife? Did you
No,
say?
no, she's actually on the calendar.
Okay.
She's an
Oh, you mean the,
Duarte.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Mr. Jordan, when is the SAP reset date?
It is June the 15th.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Good afternoon. Who are we starting with this afternoon?
This is going to be Mrs. DeRay, and she's actually position number 4.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ray. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 003497C with speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol, concentration of 0.08 grams or more, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
First arrest.
Good afternoon, Mr. Young.
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident happened earlier this morning. Today, June 1st, 2023, on Georgia 400. Law enforcement initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle for traveling 80 in a 60-mile-per-hour zone. While making contact with the driver, the officer noticed that her speech was slurred and she had red and watery eyes. She admitted to consuming alcoholic beverages prior to driving. She agreed to perform the standardized field sobriety test, which she performed poorly. The state is recommending a split bond, a 2,000 surety on the DUI, alcohol over 0.08, a 2,000 signature on the DUI less safe, and a $500 signature on the speeding, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. That's all for the state.
Yes, Ms. Kim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ms. Duarte is only 27 years old. After graduating from high school with a GPA 3.4, she has been working at Benihana as a manager. She's been working really hard, and she's been here in Georgia for the last 25 years. So she has a very good social connection here. She is tied to the community. We would like to request for completely signature bond. However, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
For the speeding, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. For the 0.08 grams or more, it's going to be a $1,500 good bond. And for the DUI less safe, it's going to be a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,500 split bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. However, the solicitor actually recommended for $2,000 signature on bond for driver DUI less safe and $500 signature on bond for speeding. So I was wondering if we can get those as a set.
I divided the bond a different way, Ms. Kim.
Okay, no problem, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey, Mom. Hey, something was going on with my computer right then. So you said 5,000 for one sign-on bond jail?
No, it's going to be a total. It's for the $500 SOB through the jail for the speeding, $1,500 good bond for the 0.08 grams or more, and a $500 good bond for the less safe.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
thank
Who do we have next?
Position 15, Roberson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Roberson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that were conducted by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003494Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Ninth arrest, 2013 probation, possession of tools, obstruction, conviction, 2012 probation, and 2009 parole violation. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred back April 23rd of 2023 at 1829 Campbellton Road, Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in the case is Lynette Robertson. The victim reported that she returned a few days due to some marital issues between her and her spouse. The defendant heard a male on the phone with the victim. The defendant then slapped the victim multiple times in the face. Our office has had contact with Ms. Robertson, and she denies these allegations, but she does say that he slapped the phone out of her hand. We would ask the state to sign for her when appropriate, and we're recommending a $4,000 surety bond, stay away, no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, and one-day anger awareness. We'd ask the court to sign for her. She advised the office she will be on Zoom, but I don't know which one is her, if she's here or not.
Ms. Lynette Roberson, if you are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If so, you'll need to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Doesn't appear. Is this Ms. Roberson?
Yeah. Yes, this is Miss Robertson. I'm here.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just wanted to state to the court that it was just a misunderstanding with things that happened. Yes, he did smack my phone out my hand, but he did not put his hands on me. I was in an angry situation where I took it beyond where it should have went. And he's not a bad person. He have 5 kids, and he actually needs to be with his kids. That was my fault on my behalf. I did wrong. He did not hit me. He didn't slap me. I was just angry at that point. That was really it. But he did, smack my phone out my hand. That was really it. It wasn't no physical contact, nothing like that.
Has this ever happened before?
No, it haven't.
Are you afraid of him?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Robertson is 35 years old, and Your Honor, when this happened, actually, Miss Lynette Robertson was a drunken, and she struggles with alcohol, according to my client. And he wanted to just leave the scene, and then this just is misunderstood. My client denies the allegation, Your Honor. He is solely responsible for not only Miss Robertson, who is a wife, they also have 3 children together, 11, 10, 7, and he has to go back to work to take care of his job. He works at security industry for the last 5 years, and if he's okay with no further contact and stay away, if that is necessary for him to get a signature on bond so he can return to the job and be responsible for his work. He has 5 total kids, 3 with Miss Robertson, and they really need his support, financial support. Thank you. We would like to request for signature on bond.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Lynette Robertson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Robertson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 18, Mr. Watson. He also has a visitor in the gallery.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Watson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003492G with reckless driving, improper erratic lane change, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2015 disorderly conduct and DUI.
Do you have if that was a conviction or not?
I don't.
Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred May 7th, 2023 on I-85 northbound in Atlanta. Law enforcement arrived at the scene of a car accident where the defendant's vehicle struck the median. The officer made contact with another officer who was already on scene, who found the defendant unconscious in the driver's seat of the vehicle. He was giving Narcan. Officers noticed that his eyes were watery and there was an odor of alcohol coming from the vehicle. He was transported to Grady, where he admitted to medical staff that he had a few drinks. He then became very aggressive and loudly speaking with a slurred voice. We do believe that he posed a serious threat to the community driving on I-85 in Atlanta while under the influence of alcohol, and not only being DUI, he crashed his vehicle, but therefore the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, the breakdown being $3,000 on the DUI less safe and 1,000 per the other offenses, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And that's all for the state.
Ms. Kim? Ms. Kim, you're on mute.
I apologize, Your Honor. Mr. Watson, my client, he is 29 years old and he was born and raised here in Georgia. The case that was incurred in 2015, the UI charge was not actually prosecuted. It was dismissed, and that was very remote and long time ago. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Nobody actually got hurt and it is less safe. Your Honor, we would like to make sure that he gets a signature on bond. He graduated from college. He went to 3 different colleges to get welding degree, and he is working at the construction industry. And this is technically first DUI. So we would like to request maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
For the reckless driving, it's going to be a $250 surety bond. For the improper erratic lane change, a $250 surety bond. For the DUI less safe, a $2,000 surety bond. Makes for a total of a $2,500 surety bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Watson.
Position 7, Horton, and they also have a visitor in the gallery.
Okay.
My understanding is that Horton will be a plea. Has he completed his plea paperwork?
I didn't get it.
Okay. We're gonna save him for a little later.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a seat in that chair in the back.
And we do have the interpreter on the line with us, so I want to make sure that he's acknowledged, and whenever you all get around to it, I'm not sure who he's here for, but if they need to speak prior to the hearing, we'll need to make accommodations.
Yes, it's my client, Ms. Fernandez Garcia. I had requested a breakout room, position number 5, please.
Okay.
Price. Position number 13, Mr. Price,
Okay.
also has a visitor in the gallery.
Good afternoon, Mr. Price. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Price, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003481F with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Nope. He's 17 years old.
Okay.
And Your
Ms.
Honor,
Falk?
the state extended an offer to the public defender's office. We later found out that that it was a conflict case. I didn't know if Ms. McLeod had received the offer on Mr. Price.
I have not received an offer on Mr. Price.
Okay. The state's offer was 12 months, 1 day to serve, credit for time served, release for time served, and that he abide by the already suspended MARTA suspension until June 25th of 2023.
Okay, that offer was not on the table when I spoke with him, but
I understand.
discuss it with him.
Okay.
Well, could we get Ms. McLeod, could you call courtroom 2 or have them call you?
I can do that.
I'm sorry, I stepped away. Can you please repeat that?
Yes, Ms. McLeod needs to speak with Mr. Price before we move forward. So
Okay.
can we speak with him on the phone?
All right, Mr. Price. Have a seat.
Let me be clear, this is a time served plea.
That is correct.
I will speak to him about it.
Okay, so. Position 9, Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003495F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
18 total. Last arrest was May 11th out of car probation. Got an open shoplifting in Dunwoody. Fulton County got an open battery DV. It's 19 MAGC 06827. On probation and called for felony obstruction, shoplifting, attempt or remove weapon from an officer. What else? I got 2022 terrorist threats, harassment, phone calls, arrest. 2019 giving false name, NOLO. And they got a couple of warrants. That's it.
The battery DV, was that through pretrial or was it a good
Oh,
bond?
I don't even know. I didn't research it. Would you like for me
Thank
to?
you. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Maybe Mr. Young knows. Yes, Mr. Young.
Yes, Your Honor. This case happened on February 11th, 2023 at 3200 Lenox Road in Atlanta. This is the 3200 Lenox Apartments. The victim in this case is Carl Moreland. Law enforcement spoke with the victim, who stated that he was attacked by his ex-living boyfriend, who struck him multiple times, causing visible scratches and redness. Given his history and his predisposition to have battery domestic violence cases, the state is recommending a $4,000 surety, no further contact with the victim, Carl Moreland, a stay away from that address, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, 1-day anger awareness. And if my recollection is right, for that case, it was a good bond that he was out on in that battery, but it is a different victim. It's not the same victim. That I am certain of.
Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Jackson is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed due to a spinal injury that he suffered last year. I would like the court to take note of the fact that my client states that Mr. Moreland has left the state. He resides in Florida. So my client has no need to return to that address. He also states that he has not had any contact with Mr. Moreland since the incident. And also this incident did occur back in February. And my client does deny the allegations as alleged by the state. I would request a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would request a $1,000 surety bond. Any bond for him is the equivalent of no bond at this time.
Okay, it's gonna be $1,000 good.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I went double checked. He's out on a $3,000 surety bond.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. It's gonna be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Mr. Moreland, stay away from the Lenox Apartments, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Jackson.
Position 19, Ms. Welch.
Good afternoon, Ms. Welch. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003490D with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
So fourth arrest. Last was 2021 theft by taking, 2020 theft by taking dismissed, and a 2010 disorderly conduct conviction.
Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred 9/1 of 2022 at 2265 Perry Boulevard, Northwestern Atlanta. The victim in this case is Alicia Jernigan. Our office has had some contact. She wants to stay away. She does not mind some contact with the defendant. She did confirm the events in the warrant, and she would be on the Zoom call, so we'd ask the court to sign for her when appropriate. But on this day, she reported to law enforcement that an ex-roommate, who she had told to leave her residence, damaged several items in her home. She advised there was a verbal altercation with the victim while she was at her mother's home. And then when she returned to her residence, She knows that the defendant had damaged the entry door and had cut refrigerator cords and an air conditioner panel cord, I believe. The state's recommendation on this is a $2,500 surety bond, a stay away, and let me correct myself, she does not want contact. She wants to stay away and no contact.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Young. If Ms. Alicia Journeyman is on the line and wishes to address the court, this is your opportunity to do so. You do not have to address the court, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, it appears that if she's on the line, she does not wish to speak. Ms. Kim, I'm going to give Ms. Welch a signature bond, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Journeyman. Stay away from the Perry Boulevard address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good luck to you, Ms. Welch.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Position 14. Ratana.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ratana. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sure.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003489G with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Ryan Dixon. We would ask the court to sign for him when appropriate. The incident occurred on May 31st, 2023, 3533 Avalon Boulevard in Alpharetta. He reported that the defendant struck the victim with flip-flops and bit him. We would ask for a $3,000 surety bond, a no for the contact, a stay away, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
You had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Dixon?
I'm looking to confirm that. Looks like I missed to make a note, so I will circle back to that momentarily. You want to proceed?
Let's see if Mr. Dixon's on the line and would like to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Ratana is 21 years old, Your Honor, and Mr. Ryan Dixon is now ex-boyfriend. They do not have any children together. They don't reside together. My client has no objection to stay away or no further contact, as long as she gets a signature on bond. We just need one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit, so that way she can retrieve her personal belongings. And she has a job. She's working for Uber Eats as a driver. She's been doing it for the last 1.5 years after graduating from high school. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Young. No,
My
go ahead.
apologies.
You're fine.
We did have some contact with the victim, stated that they do live together at the incident location. She does confirm the events in the warrant, and the victim stated that the defendant this is not the first time it's been violent, and she wants a stay away. And that's all.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ryan Dixon. Stay away from the Avalon Boulevard address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Ratana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 3, Carter. I'm not sure if they already started the breakout for the Spanish interpreter, so that way I can.
Yes, they're in the breakout at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I'm sorry, Judge Morrow, I don't mean to interrupt, but Ms. Wills I'm gonna have to do his case another time because Ms. Wills is on the breakout.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I believe all the other cases are what I'm saying. Is Ms. McLeod available?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's here.
Okay. Position 13, Mr. Price.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Price?
I did, Your Honor.
And what did you all decide?
He wants to accept the state's offer, Your Honor.
Okay, and have we gotten the paperwork to courtroom 2?
I
Okay.
did email the paperwork over. Yes.
Mr. Norris already sent it. He's sending it now.
I haven't received it, but I'm sure it's on its way.
Should be a couple of seconds.
Okay, and he's already completed it, is that right?
Yes.
Well, okay,
And I have it.
okay, very good, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Price. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Mr. Price. Yes, Ms. Fall.
Yes, Your Honor. These two gentlemen were actually both Mr. Horton and Mr. Price, who I just sent both plea recommendations over. They both are signed up at this point. The two of them entered into the 5 Points MARTA station on May 31st of 2023 at 30 Alabama Street. They were observed entering the station without paying the fare and were detained. After their information was run, it was seen that both of them had active suspensions that were served on March 27th, 2023, and were effective from April 26, 2023 to June 25th of 2023. So the state's recommendation is 12 months probation, 1 day to serve, credit for time served, balance suspended, and stay away from MARTA until the expiration of their suspension on June 25th, 2023.
Yes, Ms. McLeod.
That is my understanding, that this is, I know the state mentioned probation, but he's not going to be in probation, is it? Okay.
It is suspended. So as long as he stays away from that location until June 25th, 2023, and doesn't violate any laws, his probation is suspended.
Okay, awesome. That is our understanding.
Okay. Mr. Price, it's my understanding that in case 23 CR 003481F, you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
No.
You've been represented by counsel. Are you satisfied with her representation?
Yes.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on this charge, and that by pleading guilty to it, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury?
Yes.
Has anyone forced or coerced you to plead guilty?
No.
Okay, I'll accept the plea as negotiated, Mr. Price. You know you can't go back to MARTA while you have a suspension, okay?
Okay.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, if the courtroom 2 could let us address Mr. Horton, he is also signed up and his fact pattern is the exact same. They were together.
Okay.
Miss.
Good afternoon, Mr. Horton. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, Mr. Horton. Mr. Horton, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We have offered the assistance of the public defender to assist you today. It's my understanding that you would like to proceed pro se, that's without the assistance of a lawyer, and enter into a plea to this criminal trespass charge. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you do understand that you do have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you'd like to move forward?
Yes.
And Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. Both the fact pattern on this case and the recommendation are the same. Defendant was with Mr. Price at 30 Alabama Street Southwest, 5 Points, MARTA, entered without paying the fare, was detained, and it was seen that he had an active suspension from effective April 26, 2023 to June 25th, 2023. Defendant, we are asking for 12 months probation, 1 day jail, credit for time served, balance suspended, stay away from all MARTA stations until June 25th, 2023. That's all.
Mr. Horton, it's my understanding that in case 23 CR 003482F, you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass. Is that correct? Now, can you unmute courtroom too? Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at the present time?
No.
You have the opportunity to be represented by counsel. Is my understanding that you wish to proceed pro se without representation. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on this charge, and that by pleading guilty to it, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have the opportunity to go through the plea sheet in this case?
Yes, I did.
And did you go through it line by line?
Yes, I did.
And did you sign the bottom of the sheet?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone forced or coerced you to enter into this guilty plea?
No.
And you're entering into the plea with full knowledge of the charge against you?
Yes.
Okay, I'll accept the plea as negotiated, Mr. Horton. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I do have a quick announcement, Judge Morrow, for position 17, the Spanish interpreter. That's actually Ms. McLeod. He's a conflict.
Oh, okay. So what we're saying is we need the interpreter for 2 people today.
It was for position 17, Mr. Valapondo, and also female, her name is Ms. Fernandez.
Okay, so who's in the breakout? Well, I guess it's Ms. McLeod's here. Ms. McLeod, Mr. Valapondo is your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're gonna need an opportunity to speak with him in a breakout room also? Okay, so once Ms. Wills comes out of the breakout room, can we put Ms. McLeod and her client in to the breakout room?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Position 16, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003493A with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2022 ag stalking. It was reduced to violation of family violence order conviction. On probation, terrorist threats, 22 CR 000030F. Back in September, they gave him 12 months probation for that. That's it.
Yes, Mr. Young.
This incident occurred on May 24th, 2023 at 156 Mill Street, Northwest of Atlanta. This is the Atlanta Union Mission. It's reported that Mr. Banks, an employee, stated that he was engaged with an altercation with the defendant who chased him to the front gate of Mill Street. The victim in this case, Gregory T. Young, who we asked the court to sound for when available, stated that he yelled for some bystanders to contact the workers of the Atlanta Mission. That is when the suspect grabbed the victim, causing him to fall to the ground. The fall resulted in the victim sustaining an injury to his shoulder. The defendant struck the victim multiple times. The defendant transported him to Emory. He had pain in his shoulder and bruising. The state is asking for a $4,000 surety, a stay away, a no further contact. And that's all for the state.
If Gregory Young is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so, Mr. Young. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 21 years old. He is currently unemployed and homeless, essentially. So of course, he's not in a position to pay bond. He denies that he attacked anyone, Your Honor. He was simply at this location trying to get some help. As I said, he really doesn't have any money to pay bond. So anything other than a signature bond is going to be tantamount to no bond for my client, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration.
Okay. It's going to be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Gregory Young, stay away from the Atlanta Union Mission at 156 Mill Street, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Ms. McLeod, I would ask that, and maybe we can get the assistance of a public defender to have a social worker go and provide Mr. Smith with some help as far as housing is concerned. I will see him back on June 15th if he does not make bond on the SAP calendar. Or he will be seen on the SAP calendar, and if you can provide the judge at that time. Mr. Jordan, can we place him on next Thursday's SAP calendar?
Yeah.
That way I can see him personally, since I've already seen him, and he'll and if we could have that social worker report to me by that time, Ms. McLeod, to see if we can get him some services, and I will reconsider the bond if he has not made bond at that time. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McLeod.
Is Ms. Wills available? Is she still in the breakout?
It appears that she's still in the breakout.
All of the cases that I have left is going to be for Ms. Wills.
Okay.
And then I do have a quick announcement.
Okay.
For position 6, waive their appearance.
And whose case is that?
That is my case, Your Honor.
Okay, so can we go ahead and do that case while we're waiting for Ms. Wills? This is Ms. Fifey, who's charged with battery, case 23 CR 0034844Y.
It's a history. Mr. Your
Oh, it's a miss. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fifey. Thank you. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
There is 10th arrest, 2021 parole violation, 2014 entering auto, theft by taking, criminal attempt to commit a felony, those were convictions, 2014 robbery conviction, 2014 ag assault conviction. That's it.
It's Falk.
Your Honor, just to inquire, is PD Wills handling Tyrone Lindsay? That's the co-defendant of Mr. Fife. Obviously, we can go forward on his case. I just wanted to know if Ms. Wills or PD Kim was handling Lindsay.
I was handling both of them because they were co-defendants as opposed to.
Okay, great. So this is addressing both Lindsay and Fife, Your Honor.
That is correct, and they've both waived the parents.
Okay, thank you so
Sent the
much.
waivers to these champions.
Okay, thank
So
you.
before
so
we-
much, Mr. McLeod.
Before we go forward, Ms. Falk, if it's okay, let me go ahead and get Mr. Lindsay's history on pretrial also.
7 total. 2021 interference with government property conviction. He's been in custody since 2021, and he was eventually put on probation for criminal street gang activity. That's it.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. So this happened May 29th of 2023 at the jail. And what happened was Officer Pemi, who was at the jail, working at the jail, was slapped by Glenn McBride in the face and she was trying to give him instructions, and he was arguing with her and then slapped her across the face. Defendant McBride is actually charged with felony obstruction and has been transferred to the DA's office. At that time, Officer Pemi was able to tase the defendant, which proved ineffective. Pemi was actually able to, with the help of other individuals at the jail, able to subdue the defendant McBride and place him back in his cell. What then happened was these two defendants, Defendant Fife and Defendant Lindsay, went and essentially beat up Defendant McBride. They were seen on video punching and kicking him, causing him to have bleeding from his, I believe, nose and mouth. So he was taken into medical at that point to be treated. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond for each defendant. As you heard, especially with Defendant Fife, there is a lengthy history, not a lengthy history, but there is a history of violence. Defendant Lindsay is also currently in custody, and my understanding is just pled to offenses involving a gang relationship. So the state does have some concerns about a risk of reoffense here, and we are asking for a $3,000 surety bond. At that point, the danger to Officer Pemi had passed, so there was really no legitimate self-defense issue at play here that they were trying to protect Officer Pemi. They just went in after the fact and beat the heck out of Defendant McBride. That's all for the state.
Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. I will deal with Mr. Lindsay first. Mr. Lindsay is 23 years old. He tells me that he has been in jail since 2021. He is currently a trustee, and he expects to be released on August 27 of this year. He tells me that he was acting just to protect this officer when she was attacked in his presence. So this was simply a matter of defense of others, Your Honor. And contrary to what the state is alleging, my client tells me that it happened in real time, that he was just trying to protect this officer because she had been struck in his presence. And that is essentially the same thing that I was told by Mr. Fife, who is 26, Your Honor. I don't know when he does not have a release time yet, but I do know that Mr. Lindsay has a release time August of 27. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting a bond for Mr. Lindsay, that he expects to be out of jail on all of his charges no later than August 27. And as for Mr. Fife, Your Honor, he maintains that he was simply acting to protect the officer.
Okay, so for Mr. Lindsay, it's going to be $1,000 good bond, no further, I guess, violent contact with Mr. McBride. I don't know if the jail will have to separate him. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And that's going to be the same for Mr. Fife, $8,000 good bond, no further violent contact with Mr. McBride, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay.
We're still waiting for Ms. Wills to come back, Judge.
Okay. Do we have are all the inmates in courtroom 2 today, or will we be seeing anyone in ACDC or elsewhere?
It looks like everybody's actually here.
Okay, all right, so we'll be in recess until, Ms. Falk, you seem to,
Oh, no. We just seemed short some names. And so I just wanted to make sure we had everybody covered. Were there any courtroom 2, were there any medical resets or anything like that we need to be aware of?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on.
The other Jackson.
I'm gonna check that.
He bonded out.
For position 8, they bonded out.
okay.
Hold on. Where is?
What about Luke Stevens?
Mr. Jordan or Ms. Champion, would you do the court a favor and just let Ms. Wills know that I'm not trying to rush her, but that hers are the only cases that are left, and that she can take her time, but the court is on hold until she appears.
And Your Honor, I do have to speak to a client as well.
Right, I understand, Ms. McLeod. We'll put you in as soon as she comes out. We can carry on business once she returns.
Thank you.
Michael Jordan,
Yes,
I see we got an add-on for
Position 11. Mr.
position 11, but he was booked in after 5:25 today. He wasn't on our pull sheet. So I'm trying to figure out why he was an add-on.
hold on a second, somebody sent me an email about him. That came from LaShonda Johnson at 9:19 this morning. They say he was booked in yesterday and he was left off the pull sheet by mistake.
He was booked in yesterday?
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I emailed.
On the booking screen, it says.
Oh, 3:42 a.m.
Says this
Yeah, he
morning.
was booked in this morning and they left him off the pull sheet by mistake, the email said.
Say that again, Mr. Jordan?
It said he was booked in this morning and he was left off the pull sheet by mistake. I'm looking at her email. She said there was an error in the pull sheet.
Okay, so can we, it looks like Ms. Wills is back out. Can we put Ms. McLeod into the breakout room with her client?
Courtroom 3 has dropped off the Zoom. I'm waiting for them to log back in.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Champion. So we'll put you, as soon as I get back, Ms. McLeod, we'll place you in there.
Yes,
Are we ready to proceed with Ms. Wills's cases? And let's do her non-interpreter case so that Ms. McLeod can utilize the interpreter.
This is gonna be position number 5, Ms. Fernandez. Oh, you know what? Okay.
Is this the one that needs the interpreter?
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
we're gonna have to
Let-
wait.
Who we on?
Yeah, but Ms. McLeod is gonna need the Spanish interpreter as well for position number 17. So we're not gonna be able to utilize the interpreter.
Didn't we just do that? It's in the drawer. Your drawer.
Position number 2, Mr. Brown.
Your Honor, I believe PD Wills requested that Mr. Brown be held to the end, but we can literally do anyone else other than the one that has a Spanish interpreter or Mr. Brown's case.
All right, go back and have a seat. Position number 1, Mr. Arnold.
Good afternoon, Mr. Arnold. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Arnold, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003486F with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
In 21, assault on a female out of North Carolina. 2011, assault on a female conviction. I think that his other arrests were dismissed. That's it.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So in total, the defendant is a multi-state offender with 12 cycles in North Carolina, 1 cycle in New York, and 3 cycles in Florida. With that last offense being that 2021 assault on a female in North Carolina prior to the 2020 conviction for assault on a female in North Carolina. So this happened May 31st, 2023 at 241 Forsyth Street, Magic City. The officers responded to a call of shots fired. They attempted to detain the defendant who was trying to leave the scene as part of their investigation. However, the defendant kept trying to walk away from the officer after being told to stop multiple times. The defendant was then physically detained by the officer, at which point he began pulling away, resulting in him being tased. The officers were able to confirm that a shooting had occurred at that location and were able to then subsequently complete their investigation. My understanding is the defendant has not been charged with anything in regards to that shooting, but was charged with obstruction because at the time they arrived, it was a pretty chaotic scene and they were trying to detain him to continue their investigation to make sure he was not involved in the shooting that had just occurred at Magic City. The state's recommendation is $1,000 surety bond to stay away from 241 Forsyth Street, Magic City, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Thank you, Judge. My client is 53 years old. and he is currently unemployed, unfortunately. He does have a high school diploma. He has 2 children under the age of 18. They are 12 and 8. My client informed me that he does not own a gun. He did not have a gun on the night in question. I understand that he is not being charged with that. He states he was merely walking to his car, trying to leave the scene. As a result of prior to his arrest, he was tased. As a result of that, he hit his head on the pavement and had to receive 4 stitches for that injury. He also states that he had $3,000 on him, which was stolen from him that night or has not been returned to him. So I would request a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask for a $500 surety bond.
It's going to be true bond through the jail. Stay away from Magic City. On Forsyth Street, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you.
Judge Morrow, you kind of went in and out when you set the bond. Can you please repeat it?
I can. $3,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, we're prepared to move forward with Mr. Carter's case or Mr. Ludke's case, but Mr. Ludke is a breakout.
And so courtroom 3 has not come back online. Is there a problem? Do we know?
They're probably still on the breakout, Judge.
Oh, they've gone into the breakout. Well, Ms. McLeod is still
No, they're
here.
not in the breakout. They logged off and never logged back onto the Zoom.
So I may have caused some confusion. I actually spoke with Mr. Villapando and Ms. Garcia, so I didn't realize that he was a conflict. So I spoke with him, so they probably don't think that they should have kept him. I apologize.
So is he still here in courtroom 2?
Yes, he's here. He's present.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to, whatever you all want to do, Ms. McLeod needs to speak with him. With the interpreter.
Okay.
So who is she with the intent? So basically.
Position number 12, Overton. And then,
Good afternoon, Mr. Overton. Can we unmute courtroom 2? Okay, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sir.
Thank you. Mr. Overton, you've been charged in case 23 CR 003436G with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
37 total. The last arrest was in February for probation. Got an open cruelty in the first. Battery and hindering 911 call out of Clayton County. On probation for DUI out of Fayette. 2020 battery DV obstruction arrest. 2019 failure to appear. 2018 probation. That's it.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 29, 2023 at the Economy Hotel located at 4265 Shirley Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. Law enforcement responded to this location and reported an intoxicated and irate male being disorderly, screaming and making threats and even hitting and placing another guest in a headlock. When law enforcement responded, the defendant had returned to his hotel room. Law enforcement spoke with the defendant, who appeared to be intoxicated. When they requested identification, he refused. After several attempts, law enforcement went to detain the defendant, which he resisted, went back into the room, locked himself in. Law enforcement officers had to force their way inside the hotel room in order to make contact. Given his history, the state is recommending a $2,500 surety bond and to stay away from 4265 Shirley Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. And that's all for the state.
Ms. Wells?
Sorry. Mr. Overton is 34 years old. He is a native of Atlanta. He is currently employed by C.W. Matthews in the asphalt division. He will not qualify to receive our services. He did obtain a high school diploma and also attended some trade school. He has a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and 1 child on the way. Currently, his bond, from what I saw on his booking sheet, is set at $1,500. And he is unable to make that bond. He also has a hold. I believe it's in Fayette County. I don't have that information in front of me. So I would request a signature on bond for this case for the willful obstruction and that he be released to the holding county.
Through the jail, 4265 Shelley Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
What's that amount?
$3,000. Signature through the jail. Good luck to you, Mr. Overton.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Position number 3, Carter. Carter, have a seat in the green chair for me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 003491E with theft by receiving stolen property, possession and use of drug-related objects, and giving false information to law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
34 total. Last arrest was in January. Probation. Possession of drug-related objects. He got an open case in Superior Court. It's 21 SC 177752. Entering all told possession of tools that by taken. Criminal damage to property 2nd degree. On probation in Henry County. Forgery in the 1st and 3rd. Identity theft fraud. They gave him 5 years probation back in September 2022. 2019 trespass and a 2017 fugitive warrant. That's it.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened May 31st, 2023 at 215 Forsyth Street, Atlanta. Mr. Davitt McNair had parked his vehicle and returned 50 minutes later to find his Nike book bag containing his work and personal cell phone was missing from the vehicle. While at the scene, Mr. McNair's supervisor, Samuel McCauley Jr., tracked the work phone to the Greyhound station at 232 Forsyth Street. McCauley went to that location, saw the defendant with Mr. McNair's backpack. They then called the work phone and saw the defendant take an item out of his pocket and place it in another pocket. The defendant was then later tracked and stopped along with 2 females, and the bag was in their possession, but it was empty. It was in one of the females' possession. The defendant claimed he purchased the bag from a Black homeless male in the 215 Forsyth Street area, which is where that theft occurred. And on his person, the officers found a glass pipe, a metal slide, which is commonly used to smoke cocaine. Additionally, the defendant gave the false name of Trayshawn Johnson and the date of birth of 10/31/1991. Officers had to use a fingerprint scanner in order to properly identify him. This defendant is a multi-state offender, 9 cycles in Kentucky, 4 in Missouri, 18 in Georgia. As you already heard, he's got an open case for something that sounds very similar to this, which was an entering auto, possession of tools, theft by taking. He also has convictions for theft and identity fraud. The current bond set for Mr. Carter is a $3,700 surety bond, $2,500 on the theft by receiving, $600 on each of the other counts. We're asking that remain as set. He have no further contact with Davitt McNair and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And I can place Mr. McNair's name in the chat.
Thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you. Mr. Carter is 30 years old. He is a native of Atlanta. He is currently unemployed, so any bond at this time would be the equivalent of no bond for him. He does deny the allegations as alleged, and he did not know that the item was stolen. I would ask that he be granted a signature bond, and if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask for $1,000 surety bond, or at least that his current bond be reduced because he said that he is unable to make that bond.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I did not sound for Mr. McNair because it does not appear that he is in the chat, but I do want to, just in case that Samsung SM is him, if Mr. Davitt McNair is here, is Mr. Davitt McNair in the courtroom? Thank you, Your Honor.
Start over, you going out, Judge.
Yes, your audio keeps dropping out suddenly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, for the theft, it's gonna be $1,000 good bond. For the possession and use of drug-related objects, a $500 good bond. False information, a $500 good bond, makes for a total of $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. McNair, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay. Good luck to you, Mr. Carter.
Judge, we can go ahead and do the breakout for Mr. Brown because we have Miss Kim on the doing interview for Mr. Luke.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's not going to be a breakout for Mr. Brown. We just asked that he be held last. But Your Honor may want to turn off the YouTube if that would assist.
that's fine with the court. Ms. Wells?
I don't have any objection to that. Thank you.
Okay. While we do this, Mr. Jordan, can we turn off